Looks like as predicted, the Republicans will lose the Georgia Senate runoff. For those of you that didn't know, there was a delayed election in Georgia in the Senate because they basically had delayed election runoffs. They had the election delayed, so that meant that they were having it today. There were two Republican seats. There were two Senate seats up for election, and basically what that meant was that meant that those elections were going to be held today, and they were held. The results from that don't look great. Okay, they don't look great at all. Um, there are two Republicans that ran, obviously, and Kelly Loeffler, the lady that ran in the Republicans ticket, she lost. She's clearly lost. There's no way she's going to come back from um, the numbers we're looking at right now. I was listening to the Charlie Kirk show. It doesn't look like it's going to happen. Okay. The other Senate seat that was up for grabs, it also looks like the Republicans are going to lose. Why? Because right now, if you look at the difference, it's around about 2,000 votes separating the two candidates. So the Republicans are ahead by 2,000. There is no way they're going to be able to come back from this. There are still a lot of counties left to go, and the way that the percentages are turning out, it's not looking like they're going to win. Why has this happened? Why will the Republicans not win these two Senate seats again? And just for context, guys, Georgia, it was a red state. It's a red state. It's got a Republican governor. Georgia, Republicans have won for the last 20 years. Republicans have been winning seats there in Georgia, the Senate seats. Democrats haven't won a Senate seat there in 20 years. What does this tell you? Well, I don't know, guys. Look, I reckon there's a lot of fraud and cheating that's been going on, but I do think that there is an explanation for this. I mean, I did call this. I did call this a while ago. I said that the Republicans can't win this. I don't care that they've won for the last 20 years. I don't care that they've won every Senate seat for the last 20 years. I don't care at all. The Republicans, just like in 2018, when there were the just like in 2018 when there were the midterm elections, when there were congressional and Senate elections, we saw the Republican vote wasn't as strong. Why? Because Donald Trump was not on the ballot. Am I right? Why did the in 2020, why did the Republicans do so well in Congress and in the Senate? It's because Donald Trump was on the ballot. He cuts across, he got the highest black vote, the highest Hispanic vote, the highest, you know, he cuts across the angle. He's not a Republican. And he was able to get Republicans to come out and vote across ballot so that the Democrats were basically reversed. Their majority was reduced in the House um, where where a majority is held there under Nancy Pelosi. And with the Senate, they managed to hold on to the Senate mostly. We thought they were going to lose the Senate. But he wasn't on the ballot this time around. Why would they turn up? Why would they vote for Republicans? So now we're in a situation where the Republicans have not won these seats. They haven't. And the Democrats, it's looking like the Democrats, so now it's going to be a 50-50 split. What does that mean in the Senate? Well, that means that Kamala Harris will be the one that ends up being the tiebreaker, the vice president. But that's not certain yet. Everything comes down to this. Whoever becomes president, their vice president will be the tiebreaker. That's what it means. So either Donald Trump and Mike Pence pull off whatever they're going to pull off on December 6th, on January 6th, which is January 7th for us. If Mike Pence counts the votes or throws the votes out for the swing states, the 6 swing states, then we're going to be in a situation where Donald Trump basically wins. Now let me explain this for you guys because I've got a few of you here. I'm going to explain this to you guys properly. Give me 1 second. As you can probably tell, this is very very impromptu. All right, let's talk about this properly. So today was Georgia's election. They're gone. The Republicans did not win the seats. So now we're in a situation where it's a 50-50 split. What does that mean? That means the vice president will be the one that breaks the swing, whoever the vice president is. However, as you guys know, we don't know who the president is. And if we don't know who the president is, we don't know who the vice president is. All of that gets resolved on January 6th, which is tomorrow for us. What does that mean? So what happens is when the electoral college votes all come in, you know those votes that we were counting for Trump and Biden, when all of the legislators met on December 14th, they put in envelopes all of the ballots that they were looking for. They got all of their ballots and they sent them off to Mike Pence, who will be counting them in front of Congress and in front of the Senate. So what we're expecting tomorrow to happen is what's going to end up happening is Mike Pence is going to open these envelopes. He's going to go through each state and count the votes. And when he comes to the swing states, because guys, there's 6 swing states where the Republicans and the Democrats sent legislators. What does that mean? They're votes for either of the candidates. These swing states are Pennsylvania, Georgia, Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada, and Arizona, 6 states. So what does that mean? That means that we're going to end up in a situation where when Mike Pence gets to those votes, he's going to look at them. He's going to have a choice. Okay, he will have a choice. And this has happened in the past with Richard Nixon versus John F. Kennedy. He's going to have a choice when he gets these 2 envelopes. He's going to either throw them out and say, these don't count, we're going to count them later, or he's going to count the ones for Biden, or he's going to count the one for Trump. What I think's going to happen, and what I really hope happens, it's totally constitutional. There's precedent. It happened with Richard Nixon and John F. Kennedy, as I said. What I hope happens is that Mike Pence gets both envelopes, puts them to the side, and says, we'll come to those later. Those are disputed because both the Republicans and the Democrats sent their legislators for these 6 swing states. What happens after that? Because what he could do was he could say, no, I'm going to count the Trump ones, but I think that's a step too far. I don't like that. If he puts them aside and leaves it up for debate for Congress and the Senate, that's okay. So that's something he can do. What happens after that? After that, the Congress and the Senate, they will have 2 hours each to debate each state, each of these 6 states. Now, there could be anywhere from 6 states to 10 states that get put up for questioning. You know what I mean? At least 6 states. We know that there are 100. In order to contest these states, you need at least 1 member from the House of Congress. That's where Nancy Pelosi is. And you need 1 senator to send in writing their objection to allow for a 2-hour debate. Now, what ends up happening there? So when Mike Pence comes to all of these objections, he hears them. Okay, then the House of Congress, they go off. The Senate, they go off. They split into their separate areas and they debate for 2 hours each state, where they're saying that they have questions on the vote, basically. So we end up in a situation where we could be hearing debates for over like 24 hours of debates, rolling debates, which is crazy. That's insane. That means that this is going to take a while. And this is why I'm delaying the ARC this week for a day or so, because obviously you guys are going to want to hear this and explained out once the madness hits. So once that happens, we're going to be in a situation where they come back, they talk about whether they should throw these votes out, and they get a vote. They get a vote on each state. They need to have a majority in the House and a majority in the Senate vote to throw those votes out. That's not going to happen, okay? I'm just going to be real with you. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. That will not happen, okay? You're not going to get a majority of the House that's majority Democrat, and you're not going to get a majority of the Senate, which is only 50% Republican right now, to vote on that. It's not going to happen, okay? So even though, so there's, just so you know, there's 100 senators, and there are 435 House representatives. There are 180 Republican House representatives where Nancy Pelosi is that have said, I will challenge the votes. That's great. We only need 6, but we've got 180. That's good. The minority leader in the House has come out. I forgot his name, but he's like the opposite of Nancy Pelosi, the Republican. He's come out and said, I completely back this. This will happen. We will oppose this, and we will contest the votes. In the Senate, Mitch McConnell, the Senate majority leader at the moment, he has not said he will back it, which is a very bad move, Maybe that didn't help the Republicans in Georgia. What will happen after that? Once they have their 2-hour debate, they have their vote on each of these states after the 2 hours, it's very unlikely any of them get thrown out. It's not going to happen, guys, okay? I don't think it's going to happen. What ends up happening after that is, sorry, let me tell you why. Because you've only got 14 senators, about 14, 15 senators that are Republicans that have said, put their name to it and said that they'll do it. It's not going to happen. Because, like, how are you going to get 50% of the senators to vote if you've even got Republicans like Mitch McConnell and all the establishment Republicans saying they won't do it, let alone all the Democrats, let alone Mitt Romney, who's a do-nothing Republican, a rhino. So let's move on. Let's assume that doesn't happen. Let's assume that the votes don't go through. What happens then? It's up to the discretion of Mike Pence to choose whether he counts the votes or not. He can throw them all out if he wants and say, no, we will not count these electors for these states. We will put them aside. If he does that and he throws, let's say, 6 of these states where there's rival electors, if he puts those aside, what happens then? Then you end up in a situation where none of the candidates, Joe Biden nor Donald Trump, reaches the 270 electoral college mark. What happens then if they're both short? That means that they end up going to what we call a contingent election. That is where each of the 50 states gets 1 vote, just 1, for each state, which is insane. That's crazy. So what that means is the more Republican states there are versus the more Democrat states there are. Now, lucky for the Republicans, there are more Republican states than Democrat states. There's like 3 or 4, which is great. And that means Donald Trump would win the election. That's called a contingent election. If that happens, it is almost guaranteed to be a Donald Trump victory. Guaranteed. The only thing that could overturn that is if the Supreme Court out of nowhere said, no, Mike Pence, you can't do this, you can't send it there, you can't have a vote. But if the Supreme Court did that, then we'd have our first court case. You see, we haven't had a court case yet that's been lodged by the Trump administration or the Trump campaign. We haven't seen a court case yet. All of them have been dismissed on procedural reasons. So this might be very interesting, guys. So that's the occurrence that could happen tomorrow. So in short, Mike Pence will get these votes. He'll come to these states where he gets 2 envelopes for these rival states, the 6 swing states. What are those states? Georgia, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Nevada. Once he gets these, he'll put them aside, most likely. We'll see. There'll be 2 hours of debate per state in the Senate and also in the House of Congress. Once that happens, they'll have a vote. If the majority of both the House and the Senate vote to get rid of them, then they're gone. That's not going to happen. It won't happen in any world. It won't happen. If that happens and nothing gets passed, then it goes back to Mike Pence. What do you say, Mike Pence? He says, no, I'm going to put him aside. He is like the last supreme rule on it. And he might say, no, I'm not going to count these. I'm going to put them aside. It's, for whatever reason, maybe after we see some evidence in the debates. If he throws them out, then he can say this is going to a contingent election. Each state gets one vote. Donald Trump wins in that case because there's more Republican states than Democrat states. By the way, those of you that are watching, like the video. It really helps with the algorithms. If that happens, then Donald Trump wins, and there will be so much outrage. I mean, there's going to be violence in the streets. It's going to be insane. The liberals' heads are going to explode. It's going to be crazy, and I strap in. I mean, I said to John Ruddick, we're going to see violence this election. Of all the elections, we're going to see one now. I don't know, man. We'll see. We will see. But look, guys, that's the outline. I'm going to be talking a bit more about this in depth tonight with Dougal Cameron on his show. I'm not sure when he's releasing it, but we will be covering this week in the Ark. Just FYI, last week's episode on the Ark, that got 1 million views. Isn't that crazy? So now we're on a total of 6 million views for the whole podcast, which is insane. But look, guys, do you have any questions? Do you have any super chats you want to ask? Now's the time. You've got me. I've got my finger on the pulse with this stuff. Hit me up. It's not looking great. It's not looking great. If the Democrats win, the Senate, there will be no check on there. The repercussions of this, I've spelled it out in the past. If the Democrats win the Senate, win the presidency, win the House, as they already have, with Nancy Pelosi being elected as their speaker, we're going to see more states added. We're going to see the Supreme Court get stacked with more Supreme Court justices, more than 9. They're going to add 6 more justices, which is going to take the Republican majority off. We're going to see, the Constitution's going to be completely changed. We're going to see more censorship. We're going to see more wars overseas. We're going to see civil liberties continue to diminish. We're going to see more lockdowns, as we've seen this year with all the Democrat governors. It's not good, guys. It's not good. The Great Reset will be greatly endorsed. If that happens, we're going to need to accelerate things here in Australia. The fight goes on. It doesn't end here. Yeah, this is where we're at. Anyway, what questions have you guys got? No questions. I've got a lot of people here that know, they say they know what they're talking about, so I don't think they've got any questions. Come forward. Yeah, someone said some Pennsylvania senators came forward. There's a majority of the legislators in Pennsylvania are actually opposing the certification of their state, which would be quite interesting. In fact, I think some of them are even threatening not to certify their actual federal senator, which would be very interesting. Guys, if you like this content, if you want to see this continue, because this is getting very dire with the US election, consider donating to the show, honestly. It really gives me assurance. It gives me the ability to plan ahead. I want to cover Ricardo's national tour, which he's doing via Southern New South Wales, Victoria, South Australia, Western Australia for the election over there. If you guys are happy to donate to that, that's a big help for me to help cover this guy. He's a great guy. He's of sound mind. I've known him for 1.5 years. He's a real legend, and I want to make sure he takes his microphone with him, because I act as his microphone. I act as his projector to get his word out there. I mean, we reached 6 million views on the ARC shows, the weekly shows, just by doing a weekly show. I mean, last week it was 1 million views. It's insane. It's growing exponentially, and that's all thanks to the people that donate to the show and really make this possible. So look, I really want to thank you guys that have been donating. And if you want to join the channel, click the link below. There's a join link. That's great. There's also a link for one-off payments, which is PayPal, and there's also Subscribestar, which is all great. But guys, look, Georgia doesn't look good. If Georgia is a tie, which it strongly looks like it is right now in terms of the Senate, then whoever becomes president has the tiebreaker. The vice president becomes the tiebreaker. So that's it, guys. That's it. We've got to keep fighting. We've got to work harder than ever before. It doesn't mean we lose. It means we fight even harder. We've got to dig deep and find that Anzac spirit per se. But look, guys, I can't see any questions. If you guys have any questions, it's now or never. I'll give you about 20 seconds. Joel, it's over, bro. Mike is deep state as well. Okay, fight now. People are saying it's over. Okay. I asked one earlier. Joel, too many Aussies. Okay, everyone's asking their questions now. And the Senate censor the hell out of the public. When is the next? This Saturday. That'll be great. Everything's on the A1 website. Next, the ARC episode, can Ricardo educate viewers on the importance of Senate ballot is? If we don't have an A1 candidate in the House of Reps, seat, yep. No, yeah, the Senate's very important in Australia. All right, guys, I'm going to call it there. You guys take it easy. Remember to donate, remember to like, remember to share, more importantly, more than anything else. Thank you very much. It's going to be very strap in. It'll be very interesting. By the way, Romeo Georges, he's been banned off Facebook. Isn't that great? He's gone. He's gone, and he's got a ban on YouTube too. He's having some time off now. Go follow him on Instagram. But it's only a matter of time before I go too. I mean, Talk Radio in the UK also got banned recently. That sucked. But what do you do? All right. Well, you guys take it easy. Have a good one. Enjoy your day. What's left of it. And yeah, Stephen just got here, mate.